message from the Department of Defense.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
A sick nation broken in half by the hippies in the 60s. Take a look at the garbage running for office now. Take a look at the bowling pin in a pair of pantsuits. The hidden woman. The bowling pin wants to be president on one side. You got the race hater in the White House every day now giving a speech, turning black against white, white against black, black against Asian, Asian against black. Every day in every way, the same rotten, stinking people running the world. Again, Obama gave a speech. A sense of unfairness and powerlessness has contributed to dysfunction in black communities. Now, we have another story that I have to talk about. I've still not seen any photographs or video, even B-roll, of the so-called killing of Abu Sayyaf, the key ISIS figure, killed in a daring U.S. raid by Delta forces, where all of our troops returned safely. They even captured his wife, and they captured heavy intelligence. I'd like to believe it's true, but given that Obama's a liar, and given that this report about this special operations raid in eastern Syria overnight Friday to Saturday came after they took another city, I think it's just as likely to be Capricorn 1 and propaganda. I hope I'm wrong. But what good did it do? They took him. Let's say they did take him. The next day, the next city fell. And here's another question about the so-called war being run by the golfer moron in the White House, Satan. Are you ready for this one? The victory parade after they took Ramadi. I'm talking about ISIS. A column a half a mile long of their pickup trucks with machine guns. One A-10 could have wrecked the entire column, destroyed them. One sortie by one airplane could have wiped out the entire column. Why the hell didn't Obama launch that A-10? Because they're on our side. I am telling you right now that this is the biggest scam in your life. There's no explanation for this. And further proof to my suspicion that ISIS is actually being funded by the United States government is this. Do you remember last week the Pentagon asked the media to scrap old footage of ISIS columns? Did you hear this? Do you remember what they said? Pentagon spokesman Colonel Stephen Warren said, please stop using stock footage that makes the terror army seem more mobile and more formidable than they say it actually is. He said they don't travel like that anymore. And he said, quote, one Toyota speeding down the road by itself at night with his headlights off would be a more accurate image. Really, Mr. Spokesman, Colonel Stephen Warren? Yesterday I saw a column of Toyotas a half a mile long, and you and your brave air boys did nothing. They were told to stand down the same way they were told to stand down at Benghazi by the... I don't know. I can't say it. I really would like to say what I don't understand how the Republicans let him get away with it. The answer is because they're the same. Don't you understand there is no Republican Party? There's no Democrat Party. Don't you understand yet that it's a single block of a ruling class and we're the moron serfs? And it's so bad that if my suspicion is correct, that ISIS is an arm of the United States government, in other words, a proxy army, that we, the citizens of this country, by permitting the charlatan in the White House to get away with this charade of a war against ISIS, we are responsible for the kidnappings. We're responsible for the rapes of children. We're responsible for the slavery of non-Muslims. We are the devil themselves for letting this character get away with it without demanding more. Now, of course, you say, what can I do? I understand that. You saw that George Staphylococcus is nothing but a paid whore. We understood that from day one. Did he ever look like anything but a paid whore? I mean, you're shocked that he's a paid whore and gave money to the Clinton Foundation? You're shocked that George Stephanopoulos looks like a male escort? He's been a male escort of the Democrat Party from the day he started. He never was a journalist. Never. He's always been a pretty boy escort for the Democrat Party. We have now in America what I've said for 10 years. We have reporters who suddenly call themselves journalists who are nothing more than fifth columnists disguised as members of the Fourth Estate. We have no Fourth Estate. I am the fourth estate. Drudge is the fourth estate. About 10 websites of the fourth estate. That's it. There is no fourth estate. Do you know what the fourth estate is? Okay, it's the fourth estate. We're supposed to stick our fingers into the side of the liars in government. We're supposed to be those who keep them in line. We're supposed to be the burr in the saddle of ABC, CBS, NBC, and the NYT. But when we become the same as them and we're not the burr in the saddle, what are we? Prostitutes. And so therefore, I say to you, circling back to my first story, on the headline, we were told over the weekend that the great Delta Force killed a key ISIS figure, Abu Sayyaf, and then they captured his wife and great intelligence, and all the Delta forces came home without a scratch on their shiny badges. Well, I hope it's true, but we haven't seen one picture yet. Now, if it is true and we haven't seen one picture yet, the only reason is because Harvey Weinstein is still in Cannes. He's probably on a yacht enjoying an after party from the film festival, and he hasn't gotten back to make the movie yet to show it. To show us Capricorn 2, produced by Obama Inc., the new worldwide dictatorship that's emerging. So that's a subject I want to talk about. There are others, by the way. I want to tell you thank you. We got the first report of sales of Countdown to Mecca, and despite my pessimism, they were really great. They were phenomenal. They were big. Now, it may not appear on the New York Times bestseller list Sunday for one reason. There may be books that sold less than mine that will, because they've rigged the system now so that they can select books that they don't want to keep them off the list by saying, well, we're doing the list to show a balance of major bookstores, independent bookstores. In other words, they can make up the list. So if you don't see Countdown to Mecca on the New York Times list, it's not because you didn't buy it in order to support the message. The book sold very well, by the way, and let's hope it continues next week. So those are two topics. Now here's a third one, medical marijuana. As you know, I totally oppose the dangers of marijuana from the point of social and recreational use. It's a toxic poison. And I'm going to say something today that you may not expect. If I was asked to legalize the drug, I would be totally against it. I am totally against people going to jail for using weed. That's number one. But I would vote against legalization because of its effects on young minds. It destroys their minds. However, having said that, I'm totally in favor of the medical use of marijuana based on all the evidence that I have read. And as I was researching this subject last night, for whatever the reason was, I stumbled upon the fact that one of the geniuses of this field, Raphael Mechoulam of Hebrew University, was the man who in 1963 elucidated the structure of cannabidiol. I thought it was THC, an important component of marijuana. And he was the one back in 63 who found out the active principle of marijuana was CBD. And this is an interesting side note. This same Raphael Mechoulam, who's now 84 years old, is a genius, an Israeli scientist at Hebrew University, offered me a fellowship in 1978 at Hebrew University because I was an expert in medicinal plants. He was an expert in pharmacology, and he wanted me to come to Israel, but he said, I warn you, I can only give you a grant for 2 years, after which time you're not going to have any income here in Israel. And he said this to me. I'll never forget it. He said, I'd rather you not come here. He said, as brilliant as you are, I'd love to have you in my department. He said, because it's men like you who cause revolutions. I swear, it's a true story. Don't believe me if you don't want to. I left Israel within a few days because I added it up. I didn't want to strand my family in Israel after 2 years of a fellowship. And I was driven there because America was not funding my kind of research, which was 30 years ahead of its time. And as a result, I'm on the radio. So I'm going to talk about marijuana today and the medical uses of marijuana. And I want you to understand something. There are many legitimate medical uses of weed. Are you hearing me? Are you listening to me? But that's not the same thing as using the guise of medical marijuana to sell it to people to get high. Getting high dumbs the population down even further than they already stupid. Number two, it destroys young brains. Number three, to disguise yourself as someone who is sick through a shyster doctor is really disgusting. It weakens the entire medical system. So we're going to talk about medical marijuana, the real usage. We're going to talk about Hillary Clinton, the bowling pin with a pantsuit who wants to be president. It's astounding to me that she's gotten this far, given the fact that she's a complete liar. She caused Benghazi to happen. She's all around bad news. I don't believe she can win. And the reason the Dems and New York Times are turning on her is not because they don't like her. They're turning on her because they want someone more to the left than her to run for the presidency. You may not understand this. You may look back and see if Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, wins the presidency, that maniac. If that maniac wins, God forbid, given the fact that the Republicans have almost no one running of any note, if that maniac wins, you look back and say, I wish that Hillary had won. You see, you don't understand something here. We have a choice between two evil devils. If we only had a Republican nationalist running, who got up once and said borders, language, and culture, who got up and said English is the language of the land. When I'm president, I'm going to make it the official language. If you don't like it, then get out of the country. If he got up and said, I'm closing the borders, I'm putting the National Guard on the borders with Mexico, I'm closing the superhighways to Mexico, I'm ending a trade status with China, they're not getting it. Borders, language, culture. And he reaffirmed the culture of America. And tell us what the culture of America is. That man would win by a landslide. Can you name one Republican who's done that? No. And that's why I'm afraid that it's liable to be someone like Pocahontas or this guy O'Malley. Now, I don't know where they got him from all of a sudden. What, he looks good in a bathing suit now all of a sudden? So he's a presidential material? Just because he's white, he's got an Irish name? You don't think he's capable of being a far-left radical? He is. Don't you understand that his politics are far-left radicalism? Okay, so that's the opening to the show. If you care to comment on any of this, marijuana, is ISIS really working for the United States surreptitiously? Do you believe the U.S. Army Delta Force really killed the ISIS leader? Your experiences with Countdown to Mecca in the bookstores, Hillary Clinton, and more to come right here. Now, I want you, before you take a break, go out playing Bob Dylan, the one we were going to play coming in that I changed at the last minute, because I like Bob Dylan as well, but I decided to go the other way. You know what I'm saying?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Everything we've done over the past 6 years, whether it's rescuing the economy or reforming our schools or retooling our job training programs, has been in pursuit of one goal.
To destroy America.
Opportunity for all of us.
To destroy the country.
But we know that some communities have the odds stacked against them and have had the odds stacked against them for a very long time, in some cases for decades.
Now, he, of course, uses the word some communities, meaning the black communities, had the odds stacked against them for a very long time. So it begs the question of how did Obama, Holder, Sharpton, and other African Americans who had the odds stacked against them get where they are? We have a black president. We had a black attorney general. We now have another black attorney general. We have Al Sharpton, the gangster criminal, in my opinion, going in and out of the White House, holding people up financially anywhere he can. He had the odds stacked against him. How'd they get where they are? In other words, if the communities have the odds stacked against them, Obama didn't burn a city down. He's trying to burn America down. Holder didn't have to burn down a convenience store to rob a pack of cigarettes. Instead, he's trying to destroy the American police departments across America. Sharpton did a very good job living off the NYPD for at least 40 years now with that vermin lawyer of his. So let's go to clip 3 and listen to the Satanistic dialogues, the Satan's dialogues in 3.
And in some communities, that sense of unfairness and powerlessness has contributed to dysfunction in those communities.
Full of crap.
You know, communities are like bodies, and if the immunity system's down, they can get sick.
Yeah, that's what you're doing to America.
Communities aren't vibrant, where people don't feel a sense of hope and opportunity. Then a lot of times that can fuel crime and that can fuel unrest.
Well, it didn't affect you. You became president. Aren't you a member of that community? Holder was a member of the African American community. Everyone's a brother. Everyone loves each other. Of course, black-on-black violence is not caused by blacks hurting blacks. That's caused by someone outside the community pulling that trigger. You understand that? I mean, you got to be serious about that. So then he goes on and justifies the thugs burning down Baltimore burning down Ferguson, destroying property in New York